Just waiting for a few people to join in. At the moment, there's not many. I'm sure you can hear me. Welcome to my Bitcoin update. What I'm going to do is talk about the big picture, just to disqualify some of the comments out there and set the expectations, as I said in the description. Look at the big picture, set our expectations, and probably give you an idea on where to come in or where to get out. So let's begin. There's not many people online, so they can watch the recording, if so be it. So what I have here is the monthly chart, and if you guys could just let me know that you can hear me, just say hello or something like that, and I'll be comfortable starting. Just say hello if you can hear me. And let's begin. Monthly chart. Historically, if we look at all the previous tops, exactly there, for instance, what we had to reflect that top was this RSI. So this is just basically standard RSI chart. And the next top, I might just use the magnet on these ones. That's the next top. And again, corresponding a very high RSI, which tends to be, let's see, they say anything above 80% or 70% is overbought. So on the monthly, we can say that anything above 80% is pretty much overbought. So we'll use that as a definition. So the monthly chart gives us an idea where these tops are. And just before, we had our all-time high. Again, very similar. Do we see a trend here on the monthly? Yes, we do. Basically, anything that gets above this level tend to be, in this case, there was a bit of a pullback, and what it's done is given a bearish divergence across there. So that previous history gives us an inclination, if we are moving forward, where it's like to be a top, and this region in the future will be likely to be the top where we can sell. So from a monthly perspective, we have consistency where the tops are. And the MACD won't do a good job on this, but the RSI does. Give me a sec. I just realize I haven't done this. Where is the middle? Mean. That's better. And I can sort of get rid of these two. Okay. I can leave that there. Let's make it a bit lighter. Give me a sec. Right. And it comes in handy. So what we can look at this chart, we do see some using previous results, we can see that the bottoms are pretty distinct, and there's a point where we tend to see where we actually make a big difference. So what I'm going to do, a big difference in terms of the bull market kicking in. So let's have a look at this at the moment. So what I have here, this level, which represents this level here, and over here, actually, just give me a sec. That doesn't right there. That's a monthly chart. Yep, monthly candle. And we have a monthly candle, roughly that monthly candle. Okay, so these monthly candles pretty much give us an inclination for the bull market to kick in. And they usually correspond to this level of, so whenever so you can see that's a resistance. When we come back, we break that level, we have this up movement. Similarly, this acts as resistance. So I might push that down a bit just to give you an inclination, just ever so slightly, yep. So I think that level does a good job representing, once we break that level, we're bullish. So here, what we had, and we're going from past results, we bounce off it, and then we go up. We have that trend, and when we find the bottom, we get this trend going up again. And like here, we found resistance, and then when we broke it to the upside, perfect. That was our 2016 run, really. So those levels, if I was to draw the lines, certain levels, and I'll probably do it just like that, that's when we have that bull run. Up to then, it's slow. So what am I saying? What am I trying to get at? Right here, right now, you can see we've broken above it. And chances are that it's not, if I was to maximize this, you can see that it's not even tested it. But if it was to test it, if it was to dip for a month, that's fine. And then up it goes. If it breaks this, we're obviously going to have a bearish month to go below it. And then I'll be concerned, because then that will be pretty much something similar to this coming down. So this monthly RSI gives us an indication on what's going on at the moment, which is we've broken the key level. That's my point. So, and what's happening in the past, when we look at there, we actually saw a month of weakness here, right there. There was a bit of a pullback that month that came and tested that bottom, and then it started to move up slowly. Similarly here, we did not have any really pullback, just a slow month, and just continued on. So when we hit our top, that was clear, and when we pulled back, it was very clear we went below. So if we're going to have a bullish month, and here's the thing, in terms of expectations to the top, if that's our top, and that is where we just broke up above it, and give it a bit of time. So from December to the next, so it took a year pretty much to get to the top. Even if we say to this top RSI, it was August. So that gives us about 7 months to get to that top. If at this rate, if we were to go pretty bullish, all right, many months in a straight, it took nearly from 7 months to a year to find that top. So from an RSI perspective, if we December here, it could well take, minimum is there, and potentially, just using the previous records, it could take that long to get that real bull run. What currency is that? Is this? This is USD. It's the index reference. So it's USD. So if you go BTC USD, and you'll find the index one, and that's pretty much gets the whole list. So when we look at that, now we have a proper adjusted expectation. 90, 100K, 200K. The RSI doesn't tell us that we're going to get that quick, that fast. Now, I'll add more to it. We had about a 7, that month of November, it was about a 7% pullback. And this month, I'm guessing, is going to gain some ground. It will be nice to close above this previous candle. So let's just zoom in a bit. You can see that we haven't really broken that all-time high. So if I get that out, we're still below it. And let's just adjust that line. So we haven't closed above it. We went above it and then we got pulled below it. And this is no unexpected result, because that is the golden ratio, 1.618 extension. So you would have seen this many times with my chart. And if only it works when I want it to work. Let's see, where are we? I need to make it default. You can see the golden ratio is pretty much 1.618 is the major resistance. So it's going to be major resistance. It doesn't break that easy. So a nice pullback, and we're knocking on it. So in many cases, when we have a strong resistance, the first attempt is always a rejection, 100%. Unless there's some announcement that will break through it. Then it's usually the second or the third that goes up. And if we're lucky, it does that. So we have the first knock, and this is the second knock, and we have a bit of a pullback. And the third one is likely to go through. So I'm expecting this candle to be bullish, if that makes sense. Now we're going to talk about other stuff as well, because it can't always be bullish. We just need to be realistic in our expectation. So the 1.618 golden ratio is playing resistance. And if you look at Ethereum, which is this chart, we have 1.414 as the major resistance. So we haven't got there yet. With Ethereum, we haven't hit the 1.618. Bitcoin has. So if we were to break this level, I'm sure Bitcoin will break its level, Ethereum will break its level, and then we're going to hit this major level for, realistically, probably a major pullback for Ethereum once it gets there. So they're pretty much aligned. I think Bitcoin's much more ahead in terms of the Fibonacci, but that's what we have. Now, the other aspect to this, and if you look at it from a perspective of this, give me a sec. Too much color. If you could look at the RSI, it's not 100% science, but you can see, like if I just change the color, you can see that it's actually a bit of a parabolic move. So yeah, if we adjust that, that's probably a nice curve. Not a straight line, but a curve. And what we have here, let me actually change the color so it can stand out. I'm just going to make all this white. So when we see this, it's a bit more clear. And I'll just change that to much more prevalent. So we have, historically, we had that run to the top. And it's not the best curve, but it's somewhat like that. So that's number one. And if I can, so that's number one. Think of the counts of the waves. That's number two. And this is number three. Pretty much. Now, this is not my idea, this part aspect, but it does make sense. I've seen one person do that, and to me, it makes a lot of sense as well. So I thought I'd share this information. It's not my original idea. And my expectation is something like that. So if I draw this line and I'm being bullish, this makes a lot of sense. This monthly candle is flat at the moment. Sorry, this on the RSI, it's flat at the moment because we pretty much just started the month. This could flick to the top or flick to the bottom. This little bugger here. So it's at the moment it's neutral, and it will only move after the month is ended. This little bugger. So if the month ends up with a bullish candle, we're going to be pointing upwards. And if the month finishes bearish, it's going to touch this trend line for support. So at this point, it's neutral. It doesn't actually tell you anything. It's not being included into the indicator at the moment. It's just playing itself out. So this is my bullish scenario. We can have one more month of bearishness, and it could be very small, and that could justify touching this trend line pretty much like we did in the past. So that's the bearish case, if that makes sense. Now, I'm looking at this potentially as a top, and I don't know if this is going to make an effect, but I'll leave that line in there for future reference. And you never know. You never know if that next time, if Bitcoin keeps going up, that it's going to find out as resistance and then the bear market. So this line could potentially be part of, starting from here, which is that, and the third one, and it works this way in many cases of RSI. It does become a resistance. So if we were to hit and here's the thing, what is the next top? Well, this RSI is going to help us find that top as well. So if I was to just add more to this, give me a sec, the 2414, the 2, and the 272, looking way ahead, it is likely, in my opinion, that this region, so I'll be saying somewhere around here, like I said, between 5 to 7 months. There we go. Sorry, yeah, probably 7 months to a year, we might get to that region. And if we were to just visualize what it could be potentially, does that make sense? Can it be parabolic? Yeah. If this curve, can we trust that curve? Don't know. We'll find out. But we should definitely have this one here. That was pretty much parabolic on the monthly, and that worked pretty well. So just, there's no proof that history will repeat, but I do think that this curve has something to do with it. And it could be a pivot point. So what are my expectations at this point? I do believe we're going to be in a long term, could be week or two, even more, of boring Bitcoin price action. So it's going to be boring. So let's go to the weekly. And I think I'm just going to hide all this so it doesn't affect our weekly chart. All right. I'll just do that as well. So now we're going to our weekly chart. Get a bit of a closer look. And let's get rid of that. And we can put that in there. All right. As you can see on the weekly, and we can change this RSI too, which is I like to have the 50% range pretty clear. So that's not right. Got that wrong, didn't I? No, that's right. That's correct. So we are above 50%. That doesn't quite work. Got the wrong one. Give me a sec. So there is 50%, isn't it? Yeah, there is 50%. So yeah, that's good enough. So what does a 50% look like on RSI? Roughly there. So we're slightly below 50%, which is not good. Have we done it in the past? Yes, we have on the weekly. So it's not going to do. What we have is over here, we actually had a bit of a bearish sign. So when in the past, when we broke above and then went below 50%, so this level, if we look at this level on the weekly, that's okay, that's acceptable, because it's in the past it seems to be support. So at this point, it could potentially go a bit lower, the RSI, and then scoot back up. What we have so far, if we were to look at a trend line, if I was to get that wick, straight line, let's go in close. What I can do is just get the magnet and just extend that. So being honest with myself, whoops. So that could be a pivot point for the weekly chart. So when price hits that, so if we go to the daily, have we hit it? And we'll just be a bit more accurate. If we've hit it, and it could potentially be a second touch. My expectation, remember I said it's going to be a bit boring. What we can see here on the daily is this this average, which this green middle part is the moving average for this RSI, and it's acting as resistance at the moment along here, and it does look like it wants to break past it. It's wiggling sideways, and it can easily and continue on that way. So that is the first, because we can see this having resistance on the way down, and then sometimes it spikes up, but obviously that's pretty much it. From an RSI perspective, I would put this line as well to be another resistance. So you can see the 50% level on the daily. Even if we break up, we're not just going to run away. So for me, at this point, this sideways action is accumulation. If it comes down to this trend line, I do see it come back up. And if this goes sideways, like it's doing right now, it can. And if it's bouncing up and down like this, eventually, I see as a pivot point. Either, so if how much sideways can it go, or if it goes down, it'll be quicker to move up, because the trend line will be part of that. And if it goes more sideways, then obviously looking at that is about another week. That point's a week, and if it stays above and doesn't really break out, then it could probably go a bit longer, which is 2 weeks. So my expectations a week or 2 weeks is pretty much accurate in terms of this trend line to be a pivot point. We've seen here when price did come down, we got a bullish candle on the daily, sorry, and that will be, in a way, a confirmation. If you get two nice green candles on the daily, then momentum's up. And you can see our main resistance is this 1.618, which is this blue line. And we might just find ourselves doing an inverted head and shoulders in some way. So I'm looking from a bullish perspective, looking from the RSI perspective. Now, if this RSI keeps going down, well, then it could do that as well. So to me, this trend line is pretty important. It's not absolutely bad if we break it, but I do see it coming down more, probably to that level there, which is about 50k, if we break that. So at the moment, it's not the best, but this is looking good as well. The formation is looking good. The buying area is good, and I think it's just an accumulation. Now, what do I say in accumulation? It's basically from on-chain data. I'm not going to present it today. The on-chain data pretty much tells us that the SOPR which is about which talks about what do you talk, it talks about short-term holders and long-term holders. The short-term holders are being pretty much liquidated, or they've pretty much as they went down, as this price went down, the short-term holders got rid of their coins, and now it's getting accumulated. Those who went in long from here, going along, this will shake them out a bit when it comes back down. So as it's coming down, the longs were pretty much shorting down. So let's look at that next, because it's not me talking; it's actually the chart saying so. So let's have a look at that. What have we got here? Here we go. Okay. Bit more extra information. Okay. I didn't realize I got my US dominance chart on. Okay. Let's look at the shorts and the longs, and have a commentary on that. So what do we have? This is the daily, and this one here is a daily as well. So if we look at these two charts, give me a sec. So these are both daily charts. The top is shorts, and the bottom is longs. So it's a bit confusing, and it can be. So what's happened is the shorts have gone up. And if I'll use this, the shorts, let's see where they kicked off from. Obviously, they would have started from the top, wouldn't they? At this point, the longs are getting squeezed out. As prices are dropping down, the longs are getting squeezed out. So if this was accelerating, people were probably taking a lot of longs there. And as this came down, these longs would have been squeezed out, and the shorts would have come in. So all these shorts from here, pushing it down, and that would have been probably the best place for the shorts to jump in. And I missed out on that one, but that's pretty much it. They would have shorted from here, and the longs aren't really brave enough to come in. And you can see where the shorts have come in. If you look at the tweezer, it's pretty much the shorts have coming in where we were at the 68,000 range. So you can see how the shorts have increased, and the longs haven't really increased at all. And there's a leverage chart as well that shows that the leverages has been really from this level here. Leverage trading has been coming from that level here. So, and they're still pretty high. And the concern is that will the leverage traders get squeezed out by coming down here? I don't think that's going to happen, and it doesn't make sense. And if we come down there, I would see that coming down more. So definitely, I don't see that happening. And those who basically took leverage from here or here are pretty much lucky. And anyway, just going off course, what we're seeing here is accumulation and a formation of some sort that's taking place. The bearish, if we were to look at this in a bearish perspective, we can see that as 1, 2, pretty much 3, 4, 5, all the way back down here. That is the worst case scenario. And I'm ruling that out at the moment for a lot of reasons. But there's one thing that might bring that into play, and I'll talk about that a bit later on, and that is the general stock market. So if the bigger markets have a correlation to Bitcoin, that could potentially be it. But at the moment, not that concerned. So that's basically, you can see the shorts on the daily right now have dropped off a bit as price came down. So the shorts are getting squeezed out a bit, and maybe it will go sideways a bit more, and they will squeeze out a bit more. But the shorts are pretty high at the moment, so that's good liquidity and for them to get squeezed. And if you look in the past, it's at a level that makes sense to be for them to be squeezed out. So if you look at that level where it was previously support for the shorts, you can see that as resistance. So the shorts might just go downwards from that point. That is a key level, and it's reflected with the longs. The longs are pretty much come back down to support as well. So the longs, it's funny how that works. The longs are at a support level that is pretty dominant, and we had a bit of a bounce. And if you look at that in some ways, you can see it's still got a lot of work to do. But it is a broadening wedge, isn't it, of some sort? You can say that's happening as well. So that's a bit ironic that these charts might be aligned. Anyway, so that's another perspective on looking at this chart. Now, if you want to enter and you want to be playing it safe, I don't know why people will buy Bitcoin at this point, but you might flip first if the alts are going to drop. So we'll have a look at that as well. But at this point, on the daily, what we're looking for is a positive sign for entry, which is this breaking this initial level. And we can see that there, right? On the daily perspective, you can see how it's just below the 50% level, or 44 to 50%. That level is pretty much acting resistance, moving average, and so on. And on the weekly, let's look at the 2 daily. Yep, the 2 daily pretty much finds support. So you can see potentially the 2 day is finding support there as well. So it's pretty much on the knife's edge, isn't it? Let's go back to our original chart. So that's what we have at the moment. A few, and I think it's going to be, we've got this trend line, but sometimes the way they do things. So if I look at that trend line, and if I take the log off, it changes, doesn't it? So it is possible, I'm not ruling it out, that this level, previous resistance there, again, we can have the double bottom, right? Just like we did here. So it's taken 2 days, 1, 2, 4, 3 candles, there's six candles. And so there is that slight possibility that we have a double bottom and then we go up, just like here. It went up after this hitting this trend line, or major fib level, as you can see, that level there. And we spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 days basically, because this is a 2 day chart, 8 days there before we went up. So there's no reason why this can't come down and then do the same thing again. That is definitely a good buying spot, but I think this is what's happening. It's more of that trend line at the moment, but the other trend line could be possible. And so you can see how if it does break it, and you will see this in many examples where you have a trend line and it slightly breaks below it. That's because it's probably looking at the raw chart rather than the log chart. Anyway, that's what I have at the moment, a boring scenario where you can see there's a lot of resistance there, and the pressures, and this might just be enough to break through it. And I've got an order in there at the moment, so I'm going along with Bitcoin, and we'll see how we go. And if you use basic Fibonacci, let's go to let's look at a 12-hour chart. What we have is a bit of a clean resistance line, trend line, some sort. That is it. So if we include those wicks, you can see that is on the daily, on the 12-hour, there's a lot of rejection, but you can see that the wicks aren't as prevalent, and the bottom there's not much wicks either. So it's really going to the squeeze. All right. One thing I didn't mention before, and I think it's on the weekly. And give me a sec, and I should have done this on the weekly. You can see the volume profile, and I forgot to mention this. We have the volume profile up and coming down pretty steeply, and again the dump, and you can see volume just decreasing. So again, volume is decreasing a lot. That supports the analogy that I've been talking about is it's going to be boring. So right here, when we found the bottom, as we find the bottom, and there's one or two bounces, you can see around here, the volume is very low. Similarly here, the volume is very low. Every time we find a bottom, it's very low. And this volume on the weekly is also coming down a fair bit. So the volatility is pretty much dropping off as well. So that is extra evidence that volatility is dropping off and accumulation is coming in. What we want to see is obviously when we hit that level, we want to see an increase spike in volume, just moving up, pretty much showing interest to, and based on that volume, we will gauge what kind of momentum we'll have moving forward. So the volume supports that analysis as well. It's just dropping. And you notice that it's not just red or green. They're both basically the same. And at this point, the drop, obviously they're going to correlate to the red candlesticks, but the volume is depleting. So it will be nice to see, like that is really low for this week. So if that, we've got a few days left, so that might just go back up a bit, but we'll see how that goes. And I'll leave it at that for the time being. So that's what I got at the moment. Let me now look at the on the screen to see if there's any comments, and I might get an idea on what to talk about continuing on. So can you check? Yeah, US is that gold? Yep. And Bitcoin wants 757 months if it goes the same tempo. Yep. Okay, so 2000. Yeah, we can only go with the previous history. So 2017 is, to me, it's not the same really. When you look at these charts, we have the levels that are very same, right? So if we were to look at from this perspective, if we were to do this, right, you can see that we had the golden ratio. See how we had the golden ratio, which equates to R1 here. See how it gets pulled back deep, all right? But this one actually, it just went up quick, all right? And you can see the duration is nowhere long as we had it here. So that was a lot of effort to bring down the momentum, and you can see the bearish divergence going all the way down. So that was a clear sign that was going to drop. So what we have in common is the Fibonacci levels, but the RSIs are very different to 2017. Yes, we have a nice. We have actually three phases in there. So we actually have three mini parabolic moves within that, based on this RSI as well, and physically observing it. So what we had here was one big parabolic move, and here is another, another cycle of accumulation, and then momentum. I think this is going to take longer, actually, than what we did here, and because we're going to have higher targets, really, and And if you look at Google searches on Bitcoin or all the rest, it's come down a bit because people have been wrecked with the newbies coming in, and retail, they've been wrecked a bit. So the retail aren't coming in yet. It's the retail people always come in late. So the dumb money has been a bit damaged, and that's why we slowed down a bit. So what's coming now is the institution money that's buying up slowly, and then retail hasn't really jumped in yet. And also money, if we look at the total market cap, they'll give us another idea as well what's going on, and we might just do that. Right, let me see what else is there. What we have a drop at the end of the year due to the taxes. Well, December, there's more reason why we might have a drop. I'll get to that. And thoughts on that. Okay. So now let's look at one chart that's pretty much important for us. And let me have a look at where it is at the moment. So let's have a look at the US dollar for a sec. And that's a weekly chart. And you can see the US dollar has pretty much, it's still going up with momentum. If we go into the daily, I do see inverted head and shoulders playing out, and I still see it going up more. And so if that's the neckline, I don't like that. Go away. Yep. So if that's a neckline, this structure. So this is a US dollar chart. That's that's the head, and maybe that's the shoulder, the right shoulder. And we can probably do that, just that, being the right shoulder, and so on. So we've still got a fair bit, but what we have is this level of resistance. So that when it gets to that level, so it starts around there, and you can see it getting resistance. But I do see this area for a while, and then might break up, and then reach its target up. So if we were to look at the target, it's the US dollar. Okay, I do see that being a relatively target that we'll probably get there eventually over time. But the good thing is we're not seeing it accelerate at this point. And does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good target. You can see the confluence with previous levels of support and resistance. So, yeah, that makes sense. How fast we'll get there will decide a few things. However, the other chart. So if we look at SP 500, and we have a lot of correlation with that, and you can see the stock market SP 500 has dropped a fair bit, and our RSI has dropped down to a deep. So is it bad yet? Well, it's not good at the moment, but the main one, where's Dow Jones? Where is it? Okay, is that the one? Dow Jones. Now this is the one that's what people are saying. So we've got the Dow Jones, and what they're saying is if we lose this level, it could be the beginning of a bear market. So that's not good. So if we lose this level, so we're in that level now of support. If we break below this, that could be the beginning of a bear market. And do we have that in somewhere before? That was the COVID incident. But definitely, that could be, some say that could be the beginning of a bear market. Once we drop that down, that will go down deep. And then the SP 500 probably drops as well. And would there be a flight to the US dollar? Would that affect crypto? I think so. So no matter how much we plan, if these other aspects, other markets, they can pretty much dictate, and that can ruin our charts pretty much. And just like Bitcoin ruins other alts, these buggers can ruin our crypto market. So now let's look at gold. Gold is being manipulated irrespective. If you don't believe me or not, you just need to look at the history of paper gold, and you will understand that gold is a manipulated market. These prices aren't really reflecting to the availability of gold or the gold demand. But what we had in the past, and I did this very well back then, I did use this inverted head and shoulders, and then so on, to figure out our targets. And what we have is previous all-time high, and we below it. And if we use Fibonacci, you can see how Fibonacci comes into it as well. That was acting as support. And we're in this complex area and a lot of sideways stuff. And it could be a reversal, but when is it going to finish? No idea. We can use that, or are we going to use this, which makes more sense? It's coming to a squeeze as well. Gold is coming to a squeeze, and it could go down if they wanted to go down. At the moment, you can see well, this is the daily, so yep. So at this point, I can't make a call. It is not easy to figure out, but I would expect it to go up. But if everyone's running to US dollar and the US dollar is going up, this might just keep going sideways, and it might just be the range. That's the bottom, and maybe there was a slow squeeze. There's no rush, but so there is definitely this level there is demand in this area. So this is a demand area, you can see. So when gold drops there, they'll buy it up. But the COVID did a good job here, didn't it? Gold shouldn't drop, but it did. So gold is going to be hard, and the metals will be affected up to a point. What's this one? Total market cap. And we've done this before. Just be interesting to see. So we didn't quite hit that target, and we're right on the edge on the total market cap, and it's pretty much reflecting Bitcoin in a way. Same as that. So we can't really say much with the total market cap. And I do recall doing the Fib extension that we hit our target. And slightly overperformed. So this is a total market cap for crypto. And yep, so we hit the 618 on the extension, so the golden ratio, and then a bit of rejection. And now we're just under 0.5. So we're in this bound area in the squeeze. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just no man's land at the moment. And hopefully, so that's why if you look at a lot of the alts, there is inconsistency because it's going side, it's ranging, so it's affecting the charts as well. There's only a few exceptions like Luna and all the rest, and Solana, and yeah. So if you find those good charts at the right time to flip over, you just do a good trade. All right, and one more. Let's see. Is it here? Yeah, we go. Let's see the Bitcoin dominance. I do see Bitcoin dominance coming into an area, so you've got to be careful. It's coming to this volatility area, just like before. This range here is a lot of volatility, and if you've got the wrong coins, you're going to be stuffed. So that's pretty much a triple bottom. We've got a nice rejection, and so this one the alts went up a bit. As soon as we dropped that level, the alts, it was good to buy the alts. But now it's a bit hard because we're in that range where it's going to act as support or resistance, whatever the case may be. It's going to be hard to work it out what coin to. So you got to go with each chart. You got to have one eye on Bitcoin and one eye on the alts if you're going to trade. Just got to make sure the Bitcoin doesn't go down when you're jumping into the alts, unless you're shorting. Well, that's different. But you can see, I do see this coming down a bit more. If we check a volume profile onto it, maybe it'll give us an idea. Where's the true volume? Okay, so we dropped that. We've dropped below it. Right there. So I do believe we're going to go lower, but how much lower? Well, it's in that range. Everyone's guessing on that one, how much it could be, so I'm not going to bother. But definitely, we have a bit more to go down. And it'll be interesting to see what happens then, really. So does that mean that Bitcoin's going to drop? Or does that mean that Bitcoin just stays sideways while the alts keep gaining ground? And then what does this mean? Yeah? And if we have that, is that a big reversal structure? Is that what's going to happen? And if this is going to happen like that, got to be careful. You better get rid of the alts, depending on your strategy, obviously. When we get down, we're going to get a bounce, 100%. Now the question is, does it bounce to this level and then just continues on down? I'm not going to play my cards. What I will do is I'll be into Bitcoin the moment it starts bouncing, and then I'll make my decision based on that. That level is going to be interesting. That will be a critical level if it goes that way or that way. I'm just hoping when it breaks that, it's broken that 68,000 level, and it's going to go up and find another level of resistance, and we can apply a Fibonacci on that at the time. There's no need at the moment, but we're going to have our levels within there, and you can see how that level could make a big difference in making your strategy at the time. So I'll leave it at that one. And in terms of ADA, we'll get to it. Let me just jump on to Ethereum. So Ethereum, I did a post on my profile, and you can have a look about my thoughts on Ethereum. Actually, so you look under my profile. Let's have a quick look if there's a good chart there. I do believe I did a good chart. That's the chart there. Here it is. So that's looking at Ethereum against Bitcoin. We've done the inverted head and shoulders at the bottom. So we had a bottom reversal structure. Then we hit the target and we completed the right shoulder. That's what it's looking like. So this is the left shoulder. Now this is the head and this is the right shoulder. And it's likely using this inverted bar strategy that we will continue. And I see it coming up here to find our target. Obviously, that will take a while to get there, but Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin. And that's pretty much it. The question is, how do you do it and when you do it? Well, that's based on strategy. Right now, you can see Ethereum. This is the Ethereum chart. What I like about this chart, it's almost giving us it's finding support, number one, on this moving average, and it's finding resistance potentially there. This is bullish, and this posture is, at the moment, it's looking bullish to me, and there's a squeeze. So the squeeze is going to be around there as well, just below this resistance. And either way, I don't see it. I don't think it'll be long before Ethereum breaks out. Now imagine if the Ethereum upgrade to version 2 kicks in, where the gas fees are dropped significantly. That's just going to fly. So yes, definitely look at when to flip. I've entered most of my coins into Ethereum. I've still got a bit of Bitcoin left. And how you trade that? Well, I actually put it in my group, and actually, where is it? Give us a sec, and I'll bring it up. So this is my chart. So Ethereum wise, short term wise, I wonder if I can draw on that. I have this resistance level, and you can see pretty much it. So we have a nice upward trend. We have this consolidation, another inverted bar type of structure. But I do see it staying above and then moving up ever so slightly. And this does look like potentially another squeeze in the coming days, in the week. So Ethereum's looking good. If we were to add the 10 and 20 moving average, just let me see how we're going with that. Still going sideways at the moment. Just get the auto settings on it. Why isn't it? Okay. So what we have realistically for the time being is this resistance. So if we break that, and you can see it's like a bit of a reversal structure. So we potentially can be ranging this level like Bitcoin. Come on. We could be in that range. If it doesn't break that, we'll just keep going sideways. But definitely it's very close to breaking out. So if it doesn't break out on that one, and I thought it might actually when I looked at this level. I'll get rid of the magnet. I did think it was going to give that speed to it, but again, it's found resistance. And we've got the more touches that we have on the top, yeah, I think it's going to get squeezed, and it could be just drawn out. If not there, it's going to be drawn out and eventually break out. So Ethereum does look much better than Bitcoin, and just the way the structure is. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Ethereum macro bull. And you will look on YouTube, and it's all over the place. All right, let's look at someone suggested ADA. ADA is disappointing, isn't it? And you can see I had it right up to a point. It actually slipped down a bit more, which is not unusual. What's this? This is my side channel when I got there. So and I need to maybe put the 2-day chart. So if you look on the 2-day chart, this is the macro structure, and I posted this. I do add updates once in a while. You can see the trend line really acted as a resistance. It was pretty clear there, this macro trend line. And this, if you had the history, this is what you want to get your hands on all old charts, because having a reference point makes a big deal. And I sold a lot of it out of there, but I didn't think it was going to go this far back. And now you can see this also trend line, the bottoms, and it's played itself out. Here we've got Fib levels, and I worked out my Fib level from the bottom to the top. And so if we zoom in, it is somewhat like a wedge. And if we were to do our count, that's a That's our B, C. I thought it might go up a bit more, but it might. I see a bit of rejection and then a bit of accumulation. I did see that, and so I thought it might come down one more just there, but it didn't. It bounced off nice off this fib level. So that was a major level of support. Now, what can we see? Well, I wouldn't enter this until I see it breaks this level. And that level, that's the first level I'll be looking at. I want confidence. I'll need to see it break that level. And if we zoom in, it broke out nice, but it stopped in its track. So that level, so what we have is pretty much lower highs. So the highs that keep on dropping, we have a bounce, but what we want to see is taking that lower high out. Oh, sorry, lower high out. The trend is still downwards, and until we see that key level taken out, if it goes sideways, then it could probably do that. But I do see this level as support. So if I was to remove that, I do see this, and I do believe that it could potentially do this, slightly higher, slightly, or double bottom, either way. But that trend line, you can see the wicks. Adder's wicks are just nasty on the bottom, and that's part of the problem. To get a good accurate measure, if I count all the wicks, it just doesn't make sense. But it does look like a channel. It's almost in parallel with the top resistance. So to me, that if this is the bottom of the channel, bit of congestion and then a spring up. So I do see potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 type of move, and then up. I do see this area as the bottom. And if it breaks below this yellow line, we're coming down to this level, in my opinion, if we break that level. And that's not good. Obviously, that one first, but that could be a big macro move. So, but I do see this first as my preference. And if you just buy the dips at this point, if you want. But yeah, that's pretty much what I think of ADA at the moment. All right, DOT. Let's have a look at DOT. What I want to do is close these off. So okay. Well, I don't need that anymore. So that was a ascending wedge, and it broke down. It did break another key level as well. Ooh, not good. So you can see this trend line played a role. And volume, nah. Okay. Hypothesis. All right, can get rid of that. That trend, that was pretty much an ascending wedge of some sort, and the breakdown. If this could save it, great. This trend line is a strong trend line, and in a way, actually, looking at this, it's a throwback. You know what? Can you give me about 30 seconds? I want to get a glass of water. My throat is dry. I'll be back. Having a dry throat, talking too much. Okay. If I was to clear this chart up, and I'll do that for a sec, what we can see is a throwback, but it's a bit bearish. But looking at this chart, you can see, if anyone knows about the bump and run strategy or inverted bar, you'll know that this is a nice level for entry right here. That is it lines up perfectly, really. So this is an accumulation area, and I think that's what's going to do. How it's going to move will take time, obviously. But if I was to, I don't know, just do it from there. Let's see what's in the way. Okay, so we had the golden ratio being in the way, so that pulled it back. As you can see, the golden ratio pulled it back. It's thrown it back right at the support line, and I do believe, pretty confident that it's going to go up. As to what kind of pattern will take, I still see it. I've moved to the upside. This is the target, 156. Yeah, I'll be confident that will be the target going long. Whoa, 360%. That's pretty good. That's good entry, actually. So that's the daily. I want to get to the hour. Let's see. What tools do I have? Okay. So you can see the MACD will be a nice confirmation on the daily. If we get a crossover there, that'll be nice. That'll be your first signal on the daily to go. Maybe this trend line. So you can see a bit of a bottom formation. I think if it breaks that'll be a nice entry as well, if you want. But I'm saying this is, if you want to buy the dip, if there's a wick, one or two wicks that probably hit this, that'll be a nice level to buy. So if you want to go long, that's pretty much good level, really, right there. That's pretty much on the a strong Fib level. It's aligned with. Sometimes what we have is wicks. Wicks can go down very quick. So you want to, I don't know. There might be a case where there are something that makes the market move. Maybe Bitcoin will make the market move, and that will just drop the price down, and maybe have some orders just sitting there waiting for it. And if you're lucky, you're lucky. But at this point, if we look at this, in the 4 hour, let's see how we look. I'm looking at it carefully because I haven't looked at it for a while, and I might as well look at it nice and easy. Let's see. Okay, there was a bit bullish divergence there, so that pushed it, but not enough. And what do we have? There is definitely a strong line. That could be your signal. And it looks like a broadening wedge up to a point. So, and our count's almost confirmed. So that level, yeah, that level is pretty good on a small time frame. Right there. If you look at it across, but you can see how that wick really, that was a buy. See how it moved straight away when it touched that trend line? That's confirmation. It touched it and then went up very quick. Prior to that, it didn't quite touch it, and then it dropped more. As soon as it touched it, bang. So that gives me confidence that the strategy I'm talking about, and you look for confirmation, this inverted bar line is is in play really, and that's pretty much what I got for dot. What else have I missed anything? Not sure. So KSM, all right. So should I save that? Yeah, I'll save it. Come back to it later. So that's dot, and you can see I've been looking at. I'm sorry, I've been looking at it. It's gone back to the 0.5 Fibonacci level, and hopefully 1, 2, 3. This could be potentially a move to the upside. This level here for ADA, slight entry, and that's Adam. I'll get to KSM. I feel I didn't get into this, but it did move, and I'm looking for a pullback for this support level, and then up for Adam. What else I got? Matic. Oh, you're kidding! It's gone far out. There we go. It's broken out. Go Matic. So that's my initial target for Matic. Beautiful formation. And Bitcoin is also looking a bit positive as well. Just a little bit. Anyway, you can see Matic against Bitcoin. Beautiful. So my count was right, and up it goes. So against Bitcoin, I do see Matic in this level, 0.618. So by the time this Matic hits that level, I think you'll find resistance there. And then moving forward, we'll have probably a trend line that's along that line. But definitely, just give me a sec. I'll see if my Matic orders can. Can't remember what happened. No leverage trade. I got this one's really GX chain. Look at that. Would you think just by looking at that shape that it was going to do that? That's crazy. From 50, 60 cents, it's back to $5. No, I didn't get that bloody trade thing. 800% are out. Spewing. Didn't get that one. All right. KSM and AVAX. All right. Okay. I should have put more money. I should have put more money into that one because this structure looks pretty good. And anyway, I'll better say that. KSM. So that is a monthly, and you can see on the monthly where it's resistance. That's the resistance, right? So it's knocking on the door a few times, and the monthly support is where it's currently at as well, right there. So if you look on the weekly, just below it, just below the monthly. So we're struggling to get past the monthly on the monthlies, and now obviously the other monthly support is here. So we can say that's the weekly support there. Any reversal anytime? No, not yet. And we'll put on the daily. I need that, that's for sure. What can we work out from this? It's coming down. That's what's doing. So what we got, and you can see that those are shorting up. They shorted there. The shorts have increased. That was a shorting opportunity there. As soon as it broke that level, yeah, so that's the level they broke, short because of that. As soon as you get a quick acceleration short, I think this could go down lower. To tell the truth, just by that strategy. Um, yeah, I wouldn't be jumped into KSM anytime soon. I would like to see. I'd like to see it break. What can we do? Let's do a fib level on that one. That's a daily. Daily. It's coming down pretty strong, but still, it's not that bearish. You know what? I think this is just going to go sideways. It's got no trend, that's for sure. No trend, and and it's got a range. If I was to go, we wanted to say forecast if it was to go bullish, that would be the first one I'll be looking at for the break. Let's see what it's done so far. Okay. Yeah, it's not the best chart. Great chart there, but it's finding it difficult to go past that. No, not a good chart. There's much better charts out there. That's what I think. Now that's a chart. So look at that. You got a trend. A trend, a beautiful. Okay. So let's look at this. So that's what's against it. You've got this very bearish divergence. So price is going up, and you've got this bearish divergence that's pushing it down. So this could definitely go lower. And I've been wary of that. So far there's a channel, but if it breaks that channel, it's going to go down. Where is this? This is the daily as well. So the bearish divergence is playing out. And I'll bet you 100% it's hit its target. From this bottom to that top. Let me just reverse that. I'll just put the defaults. There you go. It's hit the 414. So it's going to get pushed back down. Maybe a double top or some sort. But it's definitely hit a target. I think you'll be lucky for it to break this level anytime soon. So we've got the Fibonacci. This is what you've got to do your Fibonacci levels properly. Do your top, do your bottom, do your extension, and look for 414 or and obviously the 1. So you see what happens when it hits the 1, double top. Really, that's what it is. Look how much it pulls back, and then it goes up, pulls back below it. So I see this coming down at least to that fib level and that channel. So I do see it coming there. It's already on its way down. So that was a good shorting opportunity. Bloody yeah, that would have been nice too. Let's have a closer look. And maybe just from that bottom to that bottom. I'll tell you if they're shorting it. Yeah, they're shorting it. See, it hits the 0.5 and it's shorted straight away. So it went to 0.6. Yeah, it's getting shorted. a lot. I missed that level. So that's the main resistance here. Sucks when I change from chart to chart. I need to make the background black. That's what it comes down to. But I don't have to change other colors. Yeah. So that's definitely going to be the resistance. And you can see the big rejection. What is it? Just a daily. So you got two bearish candles on the daily. This will be the next resistance here. And potentially that's where it's going to be the next short coming. That's my thinking. Could probably go up to the next level up. But I do see it coming down. Yeah, so... But the thing is, it might be doing a broadening wedge as it does that. So if it comes down like that, you'll get that broadening wedge. And if we do on a smaller time frame, well, it's a double bottom, that's for sure. So I think it will come down. And that's not a bad formation, is it? Or there. That area of interest for me. Thanks for letting me know that. So if that's our... so there was one there. That was a formation that it broke out of. So this little formation is a subset of this bigger picture. And all this is really a big continuation pattern. If it doesn't hold, yeah, it's going down to this level. Maybe, yeah. There's different levels, but if it doesn't hold there, it's definitely coming down to that level. So be mindful of it. If this comes up here, I will short it, 100%. I'll short it, make it. But that's what I think. How long I've been online? What's the time? Oh, that's nearly an hour and a half. Anyway, guys, I'm pretty much done. If you want to learn some of this stuff, come and visit my website. I can teach you certain trades. And so what I'm thinking of is just to put my plug in, my website. And so you've got free courses there. What I'm going to do is some people, so if I look at the free course, there's for the basic, but there's some stuff there where it tells you how to take profit. But here you can just come there and just look at the material. Some of it's relatively good for you, for the beginners and intermediate. And if you want to learn certain strategies, so if I go to pricing, individual ones, so I will recommend the cradle strategy or the Fibonacci strategy. There's other formations, there's other strategies, but if you want to do the full course, that's what it is. If you want to do a particular strategy, that's what I got. This includes 1 hour, 50-minute session. So you do the online stuff, then you have a 50-minute one-on-one review over the material, and so you'll learn a strategy that will benefit long term. So anyway, that's what I got. And if you want to join our community, we've got the community here. You can go to. I'll post the bot. That is the bot. I'll post it in there right now. If you jump on the bot, you can join our community. You got 10 days free trial. Yep. You can see what I do in there for 10 days. And if you think it's worth it, then you can come back and revisit. And that's our community there. And so, talking about, and I had some good success this week with a few trades. and they will pay for the call on continuous subscription. So come and join and be part of the community. So here we go. What have we got? Solana. So I've been telling my guys similar there. This breakout still going along. Solana is still going and beautiful. I'm out of the. I'm still in. Yeah, so I think this is going to drop now a bit. So, or Luna. I think that's pretty much a bearish divergence in play. So we're getting a bit of a knockback, but that doesn't mean you can't enter. If you know the cradle strategy, these were all the opportunities with the cradle along the way. So if you know my strategy, I mean, like I said, 50-minute one-on-one, and also online material with videos and reading material, you'll learn this strategy and give you good success. It will pay for itself. Anyway, I thought I'd plug that in. Come and join me next time, and thanks for your time. Much appreciated. And